Hi everyone. Today we're going to look at chemical formulas and figure out how we can use them. If you should need to get a hold of me, my email address is on the screen. It's rcrawford@jcpsmail.org. Let's get started. So first off, a chemical formula looks like this. It's going to be some combination of element symbols. So here we have some element symbols. We have a capital H for hydrogen, a capital O for oxygen, plus often some numbers, but not always numbers. And so I want you to notice first off that this number here in this chemical symbol is written sort of underneath. It's lower than the bottom of the H. We call that a subscript number. Okay, so a chemical formula looks like this. Okay, and it's really just a recipe for making one molecule of a compound. So we're going to when we write a chemical formula, we'll always use the element symbols, which we've been learning about. And we're going to use these numbers that are just below the line, which we call subscript numbers. And so, you may have heard water called H2O before. That is actually water's chemical formula. If you've heard carbon dioxide called CO2, that is its chemical formula. Obviously, everything has chemical formulas. No one goes around calling sugar C6H12O6, but that is sugar's chemical formula. And here's a good example of salt's chemical formula is NaCl. I want you to notice that we didn't use any numbers here. So if you ever look and you see an element symbol without any, we can just without any subscript numbers, we can just assume, we can just know that that means that that is a 1. So it's almost like we have a 1 down here. All right, so remember, this is the recipe for making a single molecule of a particular compound. We're going to use element symbols and we're going to use these subscript numbers. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's build some molecules. So I want to start out with H2O. Okay, so H2O is going to be the very first chemical formula that I want us to look at. So let's build some H2O. Now, some of you may already be good at this. I'm going to grab one oxygen atom, and I'm going to go ahead and grab two hydrogen atoms. Okay, and I'm going to bond these together. I can tell that they're bonded together because they are touching. Okay, so here, now we have made a new larger particle. This is one molecule of H2O, which we hope know is water, and we can see that's acting as one particle. So when we say that a chemical formula is a recipe, really it's like the ingredients list on a recipe. So one water molecule is going to have two hydrogen atoms, H2, and one oxygen atom, and one oxygen atom. So this is really how we make one molecule of water. So that chemical formula can prove to be really, really handy. And so two hydrogen atoms, and that's where we get our subscript number 2, that's right past the H, and one oxygen atom. Notice that I did not put a 1 here. If we simply have the chemical symbol by itself, that just means that there's only one atom of that needed to make that molecule. So H2O. All right, let's try a different one. This time let's try some CO2. Now we've built CO2 before. So CO2, first off, I know I'm going to have a carbon atom. So I'm going to drag my carbon atom down here. And then it says here's my oxygen. I need some oxygen and I need two of them. Now, to know what the actual shape of the molecule is, that's just a thing that you either have to know or you have to look up. Okay? But we can still treat this just like it's a recipe. So here we have CO2 that has been chemically bonded together. Okay, so we now have a new particle. We're going to treat this as one thing. And we have CO2 is made out of one carbon atom. So notice there's no number here. So that means that there's one, since there's just a C, one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. So O2, 1, 2. And here we have one molecule of carbon dioxide, which is whose chemical formula is CO2. All right, let's build one more. All right, so the last one that I want to try to build is I want to build something called O3. O3 is something we've talked about in class. It is ozone. So ozone is that chemical, it's that gas that we find in our atmosphere that helps block ultraviolet light. So let's build some O3. Now notice that I only have one kind of element here. So I have only 3 oxygen atoms. So let me grab an oxygen atom. One. And I need 3 of them. And I happen to know that the shape of one molecule of ozone is a little like that of water. It's like a Mickey Mouse. Oxygen often when it bonds in this shape. So I've now made one molecule of ozone. And so, if we look at that, so ozone is going to have 3 oxygen atoms, and they are going to be bonded just like this. So remember, chemical formula is just the recipe for making a single molecule of any compound, right? So we can make H2O with that chemical formula. We can make H2O, which is water. We can make CO2, which is carbon dioxide. We can make ozone. And though it would be a lot more complicated, we could grab 24 atoms and we could make some C6H12O6, or we could make some sugar. So I think that about does it for today, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.